We start now, Priscilla?
Yes, we can start now. Let me go ahead and get, let's see. All right, can everybody see my screen? Or no? Let's see,
No.
here we go.
And special thanks to Katrina from Cal Recycle for allowing us to promote SB 54 and replacements to plastic. So thank you, Katrina and Cal Recycle, for joining.
All right, let me just get to the slideshow. And
You see it now.
I'll hand it over to David now.
All right. Thank you, Priscilla. I am David White Thunder Trotter, CEO of Chippewa Harvest and the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa in Belcourt, North Dakota. I'm also joined by Sam LaRock, who's a member of the board for Native American Tribal Board. Also, he is the director of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Ag Department. Being this is recorded, I'm going to make this somewhat educational as well as informational. And hopefully we'll have the slides and we'll get them timed up as well. So I will begin. The U.S. federal government, with passage of the 2018 Farm Bill, directed the USDA to develop a regulatory plan for the oversight of hemp. The bill included provisions for the USDA to approve plans submitted by states and Indian tribes for the domestic production of hemp. The final rule was published in March of 2021 and laid out the requirements for state and tribal hemp production under the USDA managed plan. All hemp in the USA had been illegal under federal law since the passage of the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937, which declared hemp along with marijuana to be a controlled substance and therefore eliminated the production of industrial hemp. The single biggest driving force in the new overall plan for industrial hemp since 2018 is that all seeds, extracts, and derivatives shall contain no more than 0.3% concentration of THC, which of course is the main active ingredient in cannabis. The Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa has since developed their own codes and laws in accordance with the USDA requirements. Chippewa Harvest was founded and incorporated as an LLC under the laws of the Turtle Mountain Tribe on June 22nd, 2020 by resolution, and amended articles of incorporation were drafted and approved. Operations initially began under the compliance of the newly formed Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Department of Agriculture. Equipment purchases were made with budgeted money, and farming operations began in 2022 with the formation of a board of directors. The company and a board of directors worked in harmony with the Ag Department under the leadership of Sam LaRock. Operations included a setup for a CDB business. You can scroll through the slides for the equipment as well now. Operations included a setup for CDB business on a national level. It grew very quickly in that many entities jumped on the bandwagon, and then it started to wane. The licensing and operation of the website for Chippewa Harvest was completed in July of 2023. A crop of canola hemp was contract grown, next slide, in 2022 for a Canadian company called Manitoba Harvest and marketed as Fresh Hemp Foods. The products are distributed worldwide and can be found on the shelves of Walmart also. No additional contracting has been done since with this company. However, a relationship is maintained with contracts within the company. I was hired as CEO in February of 2023 to set up and oversee the business aspect of the company. Next slide. A dry oil pressing processor operation was purchased in April of 2023. This would begin the process of vertical integration of operations and give Chippewa Harvest the ability to press hemp oil and other oils for profit and meal as well. The market for hemp oil has continued to face some difficulties. This market's still in the growing stage. However, something major happened on August 7th in that groundbreaking federal approval of the hemp feed ingredient became a major moment for the hemp industry as well as the health of the animals. Hemp seed meal offers incredible nutritional benefits, and its approval opens the floodgates for the use of hemp grain. Crops were planted in the fields in and around the Turtle Mountain Reservation. All hemp grown on or around the reservation was tested at 0% THC. There's still a limited market for our products thus far, but as we continue to build relationships and the public gets more aware of the health benefits, the market surely will continue to grow. We purchased a dehuller, next slide, in 2023, which will enable Chippewa Harvest to dehull and bag the hemp seeds and make available for human consumption. The USDA has designated hemp seeds as a superfood, and they are sold on the retail market for $18 to $20 per pound. Hemp seeds contain very high levels of protein, essential vitamins, and healthy fats, and we will soon have hemp parts available for distribution of tribal members on the reservation in 1 pound packages through the local food program assistance grant administered by the Turtle Mountain Ag Department. Long-term plans include making hemp parts available for the commercial market as their reputation as a superfood continues to grow. This will all be done under the Chippewa Harvest label and brand. Next slide. Future plans also call for a purchase of a decorticator in the goal of using the entirety of the hemp plant. A decorticator will separate the bast and hurd contained in the stalk. Because of their different physical properties and chemical composition, bast and hurd fibers are suitable for a wide range of industrial applications, including biocomposites, construction materials, textiles, installation, bedding, paper production, ropes, twines, and many others. This particular part of the plant has an emerging and continually growing market, and having a decorticator will enable us to be a part of the supply chain for this market. As the markets continue to grow for industrial hemp products, future plans include a hemp oil, hemp protein powder, and hemp pellets for use in the packaging and parts industry, as all things made of plastic can be made from hemp. Plastic stays in the ground for 500 to 1,000 years, and hemp biodegrades in 90 days or less. Companies interested in reducing their carbon footprint on a worldwide level will soon be using more and more hemp in their manufacturing processes. Also, a contact was made through the Native American Fiber Board, thanks to Ferry Briones and Sam LaRock, with a Fortune 500 medical manufacturing company called Medtronic Incorporated, with North American headquarters in St. Paul, Minnesota. They have requested and received sample pellets of hemp from us to experiment with in their lab for use in their packaging lines. Again, the long-term goal to reduce their carbon footprint. The contact with Medtronic also said they eventually wanted to look at hemp for possible use in manufacturing of their medical equipment and parts as well. This was a great contact with possible long-term relationship, and we are getting in on the ground floor thanks to the Native American Fiber Board. The Tribal Council in Turtle Mountain recently granted us acquisitional uses through the resolution for Chippewa Harvest to use and maintain 2 buildings owned by the tribe and located in Rolette, North Dakota. One building is 90 by 200 and was built and wired specifically for manufacturing, but never used for that. Has a large paint booth, 3-phase wired for equipment, has a heated concrete floor and 3 large overhead gantry cranes. It also has office space, bathroom facilities. This will also house the decortication operation. Second building is coal storage with a dirt floor and no electricity. That measures approximately 75 by 250 feet and will be used for winter storage of all of our farm equipment. For 2024, next slide, we planted and will soon begin harvesting 10 fields around 850 planted acres. For 2025, we will have an additional 4 fields for a total of around 1,250 acres. Next slide. In summation, hemp is nothing new in our country or in the world. It has been around for thousands of years, but the U.S. federal government, for some reason, made it illegal in the late 1930s. It became a legal crop again in 2018 under federal law when it was made part of the USDA Farm Bill. Industrial hemp has seen a resurgence of its many uses, and thus the market grew. And as we saw, the CBD market actually became inundated. The global market overall has continued to grow and begun to flourish, and major players have emerged. The world market is expected to see continued growth of around 21.6% per year through 2027 and beyond. The growth is attributed to the increased usage of hemp seed and hemp seed oil in food, beverages, dietary supplements, and personal care products. The fiber is seeing increased demand and usage as well in paper, rope, textiles, building materials, and biofuel, among others. In North Dakota, the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians is the first tribe to have significant investment and operations in this industry. And when we soon deliver our first batch of processed and packaged superfood hemp hearts under the Chippewa Harvest label, we will be the first tribe in the U.S. to achieve this. Next slide. As the general populace becomes more and more aware of the many advantages of hemp products, it can only get better and bigger. And Chippewa Harvest, along with help from organizations like the Native American Fiber Board, hopes to be a player in this industry. Final slide. Thank you. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be open to that. And I have Sam here as well, too. And we're open to any questions that anyone might have.
Hi, this is Mary Cruz. I'm with the Mono tribe here in Central California. And I really appreciate your presentation because this is awesome. I mean, I see a lot of hemp products around. Didn't realize that it is such a vast and growing product and industry. And I'm really proud of you guys. I think this is definitely going to be a catalyst for other tribes to be able to do the same thing. I think this is amazing. And I am definitely not a fan of packaging. I can't stand all the plastic packaging. It drives me crazy. I've been complaining about it for years. But I really like that the hemp products do break down fast. I just love this idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, in that Medtronic, that's exactly what they want to do is reduce their carbon footprint. They're like a $33 billion corporation. So when companies like that are interested in this and start doing it, you know other companies are going to do it as well. And we're glad to be working with them. Very glad.
Yeah, this is amazing. I can't wait to spread the word on you guys.
Thank you.
Dave, this is Fred. I had a question. When will you be going to the Medtronics company headquarters?
I will be going there. They have asked me to do a presentation for Native American Heritage Month in November, and I will be going there in November. They haven't given me a solid date yet, but I will do a presentation there for them as well. They have a Native American employee group that I will address directly, but they'll also podcast it throughout the whole company as well.
Oh, wow. That's pretty big. That's pretty amazing. So in these companies here, they're very interested in reducing plastic and including natural fiber into their product line. And you guys are the model for that. So that's pretty amazing to see our work be very fruitful now. And one of the things here with SB 54 is some of those Fortune 500 companies now too, they have to join what is called now the Circular Action Alliance to be part of the Producer Responsibility Organization. And it's multi-state now. And if one of the objectives of the Circular Action Alliance, it says right there on their website, to include paper, which is basically natural fiber. So I'm very excited that you guys are the trailblazers for tribes and to create models of sustainability with Fortune 500 and large scale economic development agriculture products or projects on Indian lands. So we're happy and we want to continue to support your tribe. So again, thank you.
And thank you, Freddie. We appreciate all the support we've gotten from the Native American Fiber Board as well, too. And of course, paper is another thing that hemp can be used to be made. A lot of people don't know the Declaration of Independence was hemp paper.
Ready? And everyone else listening, this is Sam. I had spoken with our tribal chairman, Jamie Gazer, here right before dinner. And he was saying that we have, speaking of catalysts, that we have two other tribes in North Dakota, the Standing Rock Sioux tribe and the Spirit Lake Sioux tribe, are saying that they want to meet with us and would like to partner with us to produce industrial hemp on their lands. So it's really something that's starting to spread, and we're looking forward to working with them. And how do I say, bringing them into this partnership that we have started here. But what I think is really neat about this, Freddie, we had talked about this a while back about serving as a role model and helping the other tribes and the other reservations across the United States get started with things like that. So it's starting to take root. The seed has been planted. And again, according to our tribal chairman, that we will meet with them very shortly. And as early as maybe next year, we will start planting with them industrial hemp on their lands as well as our own. So it's pretty exciting up here. He has also informed us, and Dave and I, as we were talking about earlier, that we at some point very soon may be building some hempcrete houses up in our area here. The chairman has just informed me this morning of a possible project up in this area with 7 houses, start with 7 houses that will be built out of hempcrete. So that's another thing that's really exciting for Dave and I on our end here. Along with the hemp hearts, being the first one in the lower 48 states to produce the hearts. And Dave's got some other ideas on that too. Like we were thinking about even looking at something like honey roasted hemp hearts or chocolate covered hemp hearts in smaller packaging. So quite interesting.
The idea is to get people to want to eat them, get them in their mouth, right? It'd be a super food.
Well, I'd rather eat hemp, chocolate covered hemp hearts than chocolate covered any kind of bug. Forget it.
Yeah, they'd be much better for you, the hemp hearts.
We'd be glad to answer more questions. Anyone have more questions? David, I love question and answer sections.
I have a little question about the homes, the hempcrete homes. Now, to develop one home with hempcrete versus like because what you're talking about is replacing like traditional like fiberglass insulation, right?
Right.
And what is like the difference as far as like just like the process itself, like between like hanging the, I don't know, the whatever you call them,
The
rolls
drywall?
yeah, not the drywall, but when you're putting up the fiber, like the insulation, hempcrete, is it insulation and like a form of drywall too? So you're kind of doing the same.
No, it's not drywall. It's a form of insulation. You can say it's like, because it's handled in a spray, like spray foam. Have you heard of spray foam?
Oh, okay.
It's
No, I
like
didn't
that,
get you spray.
except better, and it's more flame resistant, fire retardant. It's also mold and moisture resistant. So yeah, it's a little different than that. It's a lot lighter. We went to Dave and I went to Morton, Minnesota, and they did a demonstration there with hempcrete, and we had bought a machine from one of their affiliates, and it's a little different than what we thought. It's a lot lighter, so your walls would be basically 12-inch walls, and so you would do like 12 inches of hempcrete in there, and it's pretty light. To give you an indication, they're doing a place out of Bismarck, North Dakota here does hempcrete homes. And they also do prefab hempcrete homes right in their shop and their plant. And they were saying like, for one of the gable ends, and that would be one of your top ends above the wall, right on each end of your house or structure or your garage, whatever it may be. But 4 inches of concrete in one of those gable ends weighs 30,000 pounds. 12 inches of concrete only weighs 9,000 pounds. So you're able to make walls and gable ends out of hempcrete and put them up on site, haul them with a trailer to a particular site and put them up. So it's pretty interesting to have that capability to do that. So it wouldn't be just being able to put up a house or a garage or shop or whatever it may be on site. They can also be manufactured off site, taken to the site and then put up there because they're light enough to be able to do that. But again, the really great thing is about hempcrete is that, again, it's mold resistant, it's moisture resistant, and it's fire retardant. They've got videos where you have a torch on it and the hempcrete will not burn.
Up to 900 degrees.
Right. So it's pretty exciting, we think. So again, we were pretty excited when the chairman told us about this morning, where we're looking at the strong possibility of doing 7 houses here, and we very likely will be building them out of hempcrete. And the nice thing
tribes,
is also,
I'm sorry. I just want a little follow. If tribes are interested in getting hempcrete from you, would they be going through Chippewa Harvest?
yes.
Okay.
I have a question. What's the cost versus regular normal materials compared to? What's the comparison?
Well, actually, on that part, we will be producing our own hemp. We're growing it, and so we'll be decorticating using the herd to make concrete. So we don't have any exact figures on that yet, but it's very, very comparable. But again, the good thing is here, and that's for other Native American tribes, you're growing a lot of your own materials.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be, you will not have to be buying so much out. Because at this point right now, I don't know of any tribe, Dave, do you that produces any type of fiberglass insulation or anything like that? So hempcrete, we would be producing ourselves. So obviously we should be able to produce it a lot cheaper than what you'd be able to buy fiberglass insulation with.
On top of all the positive benefits.
Oh,
Right.
so much more positive benefits because it's all more natural. So and then again, like anyone, like if you ever had your roof leak or anything else, or like it'll leak right down into your walls, and your walls get moldy and your insulation gets wet. And once your insulation gets wet, it's no good. Where hempcrete is not like that. So it's pretty interesting. We're again just in the, I would like to say, in the infancy stages of this, but at this point, it looks really, really promising.
One of the things too about hemp fiber that's not generally known. I used to work in the national defense industry with a company that made Kevlar, and we made the Kevlar helmets and the Kevlar panels. And Kevlar is always touted as lighter than steel and stronger than steel, right? And that's in the tensile strength. If you take a tensile of steel and a tensile of Kevlar, Kevlar is 2.5 times stronger than steel. You take a tensile of hemp, it's 10 times stronger than steel. So there's companies that are making body armor out of it as well too. So there's another avenue. That hemp is it's just an amazing plant. So many things can be done with it.
I have a follow-up to that. How are you deciding what products to prioritize? I heard the hempcrete and the hemp parts, economically, ease of harvest, things like that, the partners that come along. Just curious how you're deciding which direction to go and how to begin, scaling and growing the business.
Well, for us, that was an easy question to answer because we are growing a dual purpose industrial hemp, which means that we will get the seeds out of it for the grain part, and that's where your hemp hearts come from, are the seeds. So that was pretty easy to figure that we wanted to do hemp hearts out of that. And then the other part that out of this dual purpose crop that we get is the stalks, where you're getting your hurd and your fiber from. So along with that, along with the hurd and fiber, the next, how do I say, the next possible or the next financial reason to make hempcrete was that we have a shortage of housing, as do a lot of Native American tribes. So we thought that would just make sense. It seemed a logical step to go into hempcrete. So we bought a Easy, it's called hempcrete machine, from the people out of Morton, Minnesota. So they were just kind of two logical steps in the next process. As far as like, are we going to go into anything else like caps, jackets, whatever? Whole different ball game on that, because like I said, with the hemp hearts, it's pretty easy. We bought a dehuller, so we already have the equipment to go ahead and make the hemp hearts, and then we have the ability to, as soon as we get our equipment set up, to set up a decorticator, and we can have the herd to make hempcrete. So again, they're pretty logical and pretty easy for us to do. So if we were to go into something else, it would require a lot more time and some experimentation with that. So, and we're not the first, we'll say that too, to make hempcrete homes or garages or shops or whatever. You have some places in the United States that's doing that already, and one of those places is out of Morton, Minnesota, with the Lower Sioux.
I have another question. Is that okay? This is Katrina. Curious about scale, like acreage, to make it a profitable business, an economic opportunity. Curious because just thinking about tribal lands and how much space we may have here, like for example in California. Curious about if you know what's the right scale of an operation to create something like this, or at least to be like part of a co-op type solution where smaller farmers can get together and also add to the resource.
Okay. Actually, it really depends on what your plans are in regard to the size of scale that you want to do, and then the quality of the land. One thing we've found by trial and error, and like anything else, the better the land, the more hemp you will grow. And in the beginning, when we started, we had rented land from the tribe, and some was not so good. And it was a really trial and error looking for different varieties that would grow in this area or that would grow better. And some of the soil was not so good versus other places in the field. It was really good. So we had some places in the field that would grow hemp 7 or 8 feet tall. And other places in the field, it was gravelly or rocky, we'd have hemp 2 or 3 feet tall. So I hope that answers part of your question. The second is part of that question, I think, is how much would I need to start an operation? It would depend on how big you want to go, what you want to start with. In terms of profitability, you would need to be able to do something with your seed. Like if you're just going to sell it for grain, and then you want to sell your stalks for hurd and fiber and not decorticate them, it would be about equivalent to something like soybeans or corn or things like that, maybe a slightly more profitable. But if you wanted to make a lot more profit, then you would need to have a decorticator to decorticate your stalks and make hurd and fiber out of it. And then you would also need to have a dehuller to be able to make hemp hearts out of your seeds. Does that help answer your question?
I'll add to that too, Katrina, and that when this company was started, there was no market for anything that Chippewa Harvest was making at the time. it was all started totally on speculation. And the tribal council, I believed in it enough to invest in it, and it's a 5-year plan. We're like in the 3rd year of a 5-year plan, and still the markets are limited. That's part of what we're doing, is helping create the market for these products as well too. So it means a lot of good due diligence from a business aspect of it to see what your market will bear, what your market is like. Everybody knows what happened in the CBD industry. In 2019, it peaked and everybody jumped on board and everybody had the best, right? Everybody had the best CBD products. And that market became inundated, so it crashed as fast as it grew. So not very many companies are still in the CBD market. There's still a lot of them out there, but not as many as there were at one time. So it's a lot of due diligence for your area, maybe with partnerships that can be formed on what you decide to invest in going forward, if this is something that you want to do. Even in North Dakota, we still have a very limited market for what we do. But like I said, part of our process is we're working on developing that market as well too. And part of it is education. You know, how many people know the goodness and the healthiness of hemp hearts? That's part of what we have to do, you know, and part of the marketing too. And I like to think that the bag that we designed for our hemp hearts is going to be very aesthetically appealing as well too. It's got a lot of cultural and traditional stuff in it as well too. And I think hopefully that's going to help draw people to wanting the product as well too. All part of the marketing of it too. But do good due diligence for your area.
Right, and just to add a little bit to that too, like sustainability is always a big thing. And I think that's what happened down in Colorado, where there was not a lot of planning that went into sustainability. Everybody thought that we're going to plant the crops and we're going to make a lot of money. And it seems like, to my understanding, what I was told is that they kind of overdid it. So you had a lot of product, but not a lot of anywhere to go with it. So there was not a lot of planning that went into sustainability. So that's part of what we're planning right now with the hemp hearts and the hempcrete and different uses for it. So again, everything has to be, particularly in Indian country, has to be planned for sustainability. And then to answer your question a little bit too, if part of it is, if you have 100 acres, are you going to be able to do what we're doing on this end? The answer would be no, because we spent a lot of money. We were lucky that the tribe here believed in us and put a decent amount of money into equipment. Because like our combine, when we first got this would be 3 years ago, we spent over $500,000 just on the combine to be able to harvest this. And then we bought some tractors and we bought some cultivators and discs and air seeders. And we spent in total, just on that first amount, probably between 1.2 and 1.5 million just on equipment to be able to seed it, harvest it, come back the next year and work with it. In the meantime, we also had to buy some grain bins to store the grain in. And this has really been a learning process, because you have to have grain bins and grain dryers or fans in there, because if you say you take seed off your field and you let it sit in a semi hopper overnight, your seed may be no good by the next day. So even the handling of the seed and things like that requires a certain amount of finesse and expertise with this. And you also have to have the equipment to be able to place it in storage after, so that it doesn't spoil it. So does that help answer your question?
Yes, that was really helpful. Great. Thank you.
Sure.
I have more questions, but I'll save for others.
Well, that's what we're here for, to answer the questions.
I have a question on your hemp hearts. So these are like, can you explain more what a hemp heart actually is, and how you plan on packaging it? Like, is it a wet product? Is it a freeze-dried product? What is it?
A hemp seed is actually like a nut. It has a little bit of a shell around it. So when
Mhm.
you say you have to dehull it, you have to get rid of the outer part of it to get
Mhm.
to the seed. The seed is the part that is the superfood. The shell around it also has very high in protein too. It actually makes good animal feed for the chicken, things like that. But it's the hemp heart that has all of the 9 essential vitamins, amino acids, and all that high protein level in it. That's where the hemp heart is. It's a dry product,
Okay.
and it's a
It's a
dehulled.
grain. It's a grain.
It's a grain, yes. it's a
Okay.
grain.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So you would
Okay.
mix it in with your yogurt, put it on your
Oh,
cereal,
yeah.
so eat it straight, whatever. That's why we were thinking, honey roasted or chocolate covered
Yeah.
would make them more edible. Yeah.
Like little clusters, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
so think of an oat seed in a field that has the hull around it. And then they take it off, and that meat that's on the inside, they call it that seed. Kind of like when you're eating oat cereal and it's just that inside part, like puffed oats. And that's what it is. It's the part, the inside of that seed, so
Okay.
it's called hemp heart.
Oh, okay.
And
God, this
different
is
varieties,
interesting.
yeah, and then different varieties have different size seeds. So if you're going to plant and you want to do hemp hearts, you probably want to plant a variety that has bigger hemp seeds, because you'll have bigger hemp hearts. And if you're looking at, again, doing hemp hearts and you also want herd and fiber, you want what's called a dual purpose variety. And so we've planted a variety called X59 here for the last 3 years. This upcoming year, we're looking at, what are there two, Dave, again? Inca
or Vega.
or Vega. And they seem to grow quite well in this area. We're hoping that they will do a little better than X59, but again, we have part of our team is a research and development aspect. We have one employee that works with that, so we also are experimenting with different varieties up here that we think will work best in our area or in the upper Midwest. Quite interesting.
How long does it take from seed to full growth? Does it take? Like what's your season like?
That's another amazing thing about hemp, which makes it such a great crop to have. It's around 100 days. Hemp grows. And an acre of hemp takes more carbon dioxide out of the air than an acre of trees. And trees take how long to mature? 30, 40 years. Hemp, 100 days. Then you can, if you're in the right area, you can replant more hemp as well. So yeah, and it's a very hardy crop as well.
And getting back to the paper thing, we were talking about that when we were reading some information the other day, that it takes somewhere between, by the time you seed and harvest your crop of hemp, say for an acre, it'll take you roughly 6 months. And it will produce more than an acre of timber that'll take you 20 to 30 years to grow. That's the difference. And you will get more paper out of your hemp in 1 acre. So imagine that 6 months compared to 20 to 30 years, and you'll have more material to use for paper.
That's amazing.
Quite interesting.
And it's healthier for the environment once it's used.
Very much so. Very much so.
Well, I think I'll tell my tribe to forget about the casino and let's grow some hemp. Yeah.
Great. Well, what we like about it, it's more of a natural thing. We're not polluting the environment or poisoning Mother Earth or anything like that. We are actually, hemp will add to your soil. It'll add nitrogen to your soil, and the roots help break it up so that it absorbs your moisture better. And it's actually better for your soil to have planted the crop of hemp versus, like, say, if you planted corn, because corn takes a lot out of your soil. Hemp does not. It actually adds to the structure of your soil and makes it better. Okay. I'm waiting for Freddie Baronis to ask questions here. Is he still on?
Let's see. I think Mira had a question.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
still on, but did someone else have a question? Go ahead.
Oh, I have a few, but I'm gonna just on that last point. Do you see the future crops, like successive crops, do better after planting, like, 1, 2, 3 years down the road, does it seem like the hemp fields get more established, or the soil gets better to grow the next round of crop?
At some point it does. We've rotated some of the crops. So a lot of it depends and on your weather. So it's been pretty hard to tell on that part. We do know that they seem to grow better, but again, it really depends on the weather. Like, we've had such extremes here. Like this year we had an insane amount of rain, very hard to get the hemp planted. Last year, and especially 2 years ago, we had a drought. So it's been really hard to chart that very good because of the amount of moisture. So if all the variables were there and even, you'd be able to tell a lot better. But we do know through research, though, that hemp does add to your soil. Okay.
Fred, do you want to ask your next question? This will be my final question if I can. I just want to share, I've worked closely with Fred on SB 54, which he mentioned about our plastic pollution and packaging reduction act in California. That's going to require packaging and plastics producers to think about new materials and new ways to create more sustainable packaging and single-use plastic resources and opportunities. I'm just hearing all of you share right now. It seems like hemp is a really strong candidate to feed into those solutions. And then also wanted to share that we're working on textiles now in California. So a similar program when it comes to the producer responsibility, where we ask producers to be more responsible about their product development and the full life cycle. So hemp seems like a big opportunity there. So I guess not a question, but just wanted to flag those two things. I'm excited about those two initiatives in California, and thank you for sharing everything you shared today, because I feel like that's going to create some of that demand that you were talking about, that the demand is also a really key part of this system. Not only do you need to produce the product, but you need to have a demand for that product. And some of these policies in California are helping produce that demand. So I'm sure Fred will be able to connect you to the right folks to help build that niche as well.
Awesome.
You are absolutely correct, and that is what is going to create the demand. And that's where the education part comes in. Once more and more people find out the incredibleness of the hemp plant and what it can do and what it can be used for, that's where the demand is going to come from.
In so many areas, though, with that, including building, because we have a guy we had worked with and still working with out of Colorado that has made hempcrete blocks, not just hempcrete that you put in a wall. Like, say if you're building a house, you have your wall and that's your forms for it. It takes the shape of whatever your wall is. He has made and patented hempcrete blocks and done a number of tests on there, including pressure tests, so that they can be used in buildings now. So whatever shape your building wants to take, you may want to take with your building, I should say, that you can use it to build hempcrete blocks and build your building out of that, which has never been done before. So it's not just, for the food or certain other things, that it's even in building materials. And there will never be less of a demand for housing or anything else. Like, I don't know where anywhere in the world that they stop building houses. They're always building houses and apartments and whatever else. So there'll always be a need for that. And so instead of just being able to having had to use lumber in the past, now you'll be able to use hempcrete blocks. And what's funny is about this, like this guy that patented this and worked on this for a couple of years at least. He carries a little block of hempcrete in a suitcase like it's a bar of gold. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting.
He sounds like he's proud of his product.
He is. He is.
Justifiably so.
This is Fred. Again, thank you for your presentation. I'm really curious to see what's gonna happen with the Fortune 500 with Medtronics.
We
So
are too.
just, yeah, that's the big one. So keep us updated on that one. We're getting close to our hour here also. I really don't have any more questions. I'll see you guys in Montana in a few days.
Sounds great. Good.
Yeah. So that's all I have to say. If there's anything else anyone like to say, I think we should, we're coming close to our hour and just wrap it up. And thank you to everyone who joined.
Thank you for having us, Fred. We appreciate the opportunity to present and talk about our company and our tribe. And we also appreciate the support that we have from the Native American Fiber Board. Thank you all for everyone that being here. Thank you for your questions as well.
And if you have any further questions after you have time to think about it, we will be available. And you can call us any day. We'd be more than happy to answer any further questions or thoughts.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. for doing that.
All have a good day and enjoy your beautiful weather out there on the West Coast.
Oh, yes, we will. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.